Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Nerdrotic Live. My name is Gary Beekler, and I am coming to you live from San Diego County. And we are here to review Star Trek Lower Decks Episode 5, Cupid's Errant Arrow. And I did a live or a review video for the first episode, and I've just done brief reviews in my Super Chat Square Up because honestly, this show wasn't worthy of going on the main channel. And one of the biggest problems with a mediocre to boring show is they're the worst to review, because while Star Trek Lower Decks is not as offensively bad as Discovery is, and Star Trek Picard, which again, the review date is 9/21. 9/21 is when that review comes out. It really does display what bad shape this franchise is in when the only competent writing you get is in a cartoon, a poorly drawn cartoon. So this will probably be my last review on it unless I do a season review, which I may or may not do if I've got time. Now, up front, I'm going to say I have obviously a personal bias against Alex Kurtzman, anything the guy does, and I'm not really that into cartoons anymore. It's something that happened in my mid-40s. I just kind of got over them now. I still love the Venture Brothers. It's one of the greatest ones ever made, and Batman, the animated series, but I can't even really go back and watch the ones I really enjoyed now. There's some anime out there that I'll probably like, but when it comes to American cartoons and art like this, it's terrible. The art is terrible. Now, I understand why a lot of people like it, because Star Trek fans have been starved in the desert. So you use the Eddie Murphy Ritz cracker philosophy. If you starve somebody long enough and you give them a Ritz cracker, it will be the greatest thing they've ever tasted. So you get the backgrounds, not the animation of the characters themselves, but the backgrounds and the ships. There's a lot of familiarity with the opening credits. It looks like TNG opening credits, so that's going to give somebody a Star Trek boner. Of course it is. Doesn't make it Star Trek. It doesn't make it good. So this episode is like all the other episodes and like all the episodes that are going to come after it. And I summed it up in my tweet, is Boimler gets humiliated for 23 minutes, and Mariner figures out the problem or what he screwed up or what he was a victim of, and she figures it out. The only thing different about this episode is they just come out and it turns out to be lower cucks. Star Trek lower cucks. So, and they do it twice in this episode. So it starts out with the Cerritos in orbit around Mixus 3, and they got a demo a moon that's I guess imploding or exploding, and they need to control demolition, the destruction of this moon so it doesn't screw up the gravity, and they got to relocate everyone. And there is an underlying theme of environmentalism in this one, because you have the people arguing, I've lived there all my life and we pray to this moon and blah, blah, blah. So, and I'm forgetting the captain's name. Sorry. Captain Lady. Captain Lady meets other Captain Lady, because there's no male captains, and if they are, they're incompetent, duplicitous, or cowards. And because Star Trek is female-centric, and those are the words of Alex Kurtzman himself. So Captain Lady gets humiliated by other Captain Lady because she's got a better ship. They go on the Vancouver, which is a decent-looking ship. It's a decent-looking ship as far as the animation goes. There's a ton of Star Trek member berries. They mention Kirk. They mention Riker. The worst thing in the beginning, they mentioned Picard Day. There's a Picard Day, and I'm like, oh, wow. So that's when they still revered Captain Picard before he humiliated himself and died and turned into a robot so he can experience the life of a marginalized robot. Gotcha. Okay. So it's a diplomatic issue. They cannot destroy the moon because the purple people are screaming about it. In the meantime, we've been hearing about Boimler's girlfriend, and her name is Barbara Benson. I think we'll just call her Barb. And she ends up being real. Mariner didn't believe she was real, just like the old, nerd saying he had a girlfriend in Canada, shticked from the 80s. And she turns out to be real. She turns out to be perfect. So Mariner believes she's an alien or a shapeshifter. And, Mariner had a previous experience with this with one of her friends who did end up getting eaten by a shapeshifter who seemed like a perfect guy. It's intersectional comedy, folks, at its worst or best. I don't know. Again, 5th episode, I think I got a mild chuckle when Barb showed up to Boimler. I can never say his name. Boimler. And Mariner says, computer and program. That was kind of funny. So, she spends the entire episode trying to prove that Barb isn't real. And there is some tells. Barb says, oh, he just exudes manhood. And I'm paraphrasing everything because I don't remember it word for word. But then, about a couple of minutes in the episode, you're kind of impressed with Boimler. He's got this girl, and then he immediately gets semi-cucked when Jet shows up, and it's Barb's ex-boyfriend, and Boimler immediately gets jealous and starts screwing everything up, while Mariner is in the background screwing things up, trying to figure out who Barb really is, what she really is. In the meantime, Tandy and Rutherford are just spastic nerds again throughout the entire episode. They go on the Vancouver. They're impressed by all the technology, and they're supposed to be the stand-ins. They're supposed to be the surrogate for the nerd audience who's watching this, because everybody has to identify with everything they watch now, even if it's a green person. And they are really impressed with these scanners, basically, that I don't know what they look like, little scanners at a retail store called T-88s. And they run into a commander who offers them for free if they go and do some work for them. And they go and get into a little competition to see if they can, because they have to run diagnostics on the simulator to see, to find a different way to demo this moon that will satisfy all the purple people, which is the environmental theme, underlying environmental theme. So we get a series of Boimler humiliating himself scenes. He tries to act cool. He overcompensates to Barb because she's eating lunch with Jet. Mariner is running around scanning her using a sonic wave to see if she's an android. And then the captain lady is trying to, she figures out a problem, or she figures out a solution for all the purple people so they can, they'll all agree that, yes, they need the demo of the moon because the moon's going to crash into the planet and kill everybody. So they're arguing over nothing because they're all about to die. So she figures out a solution, but there's one holdout, and he's a red guy, and he's on another moon that's going to get affected by this moon being demoed. And, he's saying the captain's going to have blood on her hands, so she's got to figure this out. And honestly, how many of you are watching this? That's the question I have. And we'll talk about that in a second. We'll talk about, there's ways to figure out, because CBS is never going to tell you the numbers. There's ways to see percentage-wise what kind of interest there is in this show. There's ways to figure it out, and we will go over those ways. All right, so fast forward this because, again, it's just an episode of Boimler being humiliated, ultimately humiliated at the end. So there is a husk of some kind of neural alien found on the floor. So right after Mariner's about to give up and say, okay, maybe she's human, she finds this husk. So she's convinced. So she runs, and Boimler and Barb end up going on there's a deck. There's these, they're not ships, but they're decks, and they are placed around the moon to keep it in its gravitational field. But they're not holding up very well. They're placed too close to the moon. But Barb and Boimler go off to go have sexy time, and that's when Mariner finds the little husk, which she thinks is a neural, parasite. So she finds them, and that's that scene in the trailer where she runs in on Boimler naked, and he screams, and he ends up hitting his head and passing out, and he's covering his chest like he's a woman, and he hits his head and gets knocked out. And then Barb and Mariner fight, and Barb is protecting Boimler from Mariner, and Mariner is protecting Boimler from Barb. So they end up fighting, and they duke it out while Bradward is knocked out, and they end up bonding. They end up really bonding. And you find out that the parasite was on Bradward, and it exuded pheromones. So that's the only reason Barb was attracted to her. Now, earlier on in the episode, when Jet ran across Barb, she said, I used to date him, and he made a little comment. He's all, well, I'll try not to go downtown, and we all know what that means. Well, that comes up later. So after the fight between Mariner and Barb, they start getting attracted to each other. Bradward finds out that he had this parasite on him. He's all, you're not going to break up with me because it was exuding pheromones. And Barb's all, no, I'm a Starfleet officer, but I'm still going to break up with you. So she breaks up with him anyway. And she ends up planning a date with Mariner at the end. And right at the end, Mariner's all, try not to go, something like this, try not to go downtown. And I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh my God, this woke storytelling is predictable. There's only a few ways you can go with it. And that's all this show is ever going to be. So is it hilarious in its predictably badness? Yes, absolutely. So there you go. He gets, it's Star Trek Lower Cucks. And, of course, you find out the one red alien who was trying to preserve the moon. The only people on that planet were him and his wife, and they were rich. So they end up demoing the moon anyway. And you find out that the guy who handed Tandy and Rutherford the T-88s was actually setting them up to transfer because he was, he's a white guy. So he was too stressed out on the Vancouver. It was too big of a ship, and he wanted to go someplace like the Cerritos where it's more kickback. And so he tried to trick them, and they got into a little fight, and Cyborg Rutherford recorded it all and blackmailed him into giving them a bunch of T-88s, and then they stole them, and then they nerded out over some more stuff, because that's all these characters do is nerd out over stuff, which is just so dramatic, and I'm really into it. So as far as Star Trek Kurtzman trick goes, this is the best thing they have produced without a doubt. I would give this episode like a 5 out of 10. I would never watch it again. This is not a show I'm interested in watching anymore. It's not horrifically bad, but it's nowhere near good. And it's just a 5 out of 10. And that's the best you're going to get. That's the best you're going to get. If you, now I could be wrong, but Star Trek Discovery is probably going to be just as bad as season 1 or season 2. What makes me say that? Well, you haven't seen it, Gary. Well, it's the same people, the exact same people writing and producing the first 2 seasons are writing and producing this season. At least Mike McMahon has written other stuff, right? So he can write a competent script. I don't know if he's being held down because there's certain things you can't joke about anymore. And this is where art is limited. And this is where it's just going to become utter crap, because the only people, honestly, the only people you're going to be able to write with any complexity or make fun of are white folks, and you're going to end up making them more sophisticated anyway. So that in itself is a form of bigotry. But we've been talking about that for quite some time. And the big announcement yesterday was the first, but not first, non-binary character in Star Trek. And they announced it as the first. Now, I think maybe they meant playing the part, but most definitely not the first in Star Trek. Nowhere near that. So, and when they put these tweets up, they got 0 traction. I think the first one had 6,500 likes at the time, and I put this up on Twitter, and the second one had 1,700 likes. You would think that's a lot. Sure, if you've got, a few hundred followers, 1,000 followers, 10,000 followers. Star Trek has 500,000 followers. For one, it should have more than that, by the way. And that gives you an idea of what kind of traction this show gets. And if you also go over to the YouTube channel, and I've done it on my live streams, you need to check back. I think it was 4 or 5 nooners ago. I went to the CBS All Access website, and they had put up their short treks. They had been up for about 5 days, and this is prior to them embedding them in any websites. And they had, in some cases, a couple thousand views. And the views are still extremely low for Star Trek. And if you compare it to, say, Doctor Who, when Matt Smith was around and right around the 50th anniversary, when they were putting up clips, they were getting millions of views freaking within a couple of days. So that's the sign of a healthy franchise. This is the sign of an unhealthy franchise, a franchise that spends more time trying to cover up the badness than actually trying to make itself good, spending more time virtue signaling unnecessary and erroneous virtue signals instead of just concentrating on a good story. Problem is, this is all they've got. So what they're going to do is we're going to make this the wokest thing possible because we can't tell a good story. We're incapable of it. So that's Star Trek. And it's not even worth arguing over anymore at this point. I'm going to chronicle Star Trek Discovery, of course. I don't think I could do a 4th season. I know every time I say that, I get emails going, "No, we want you to cover it." But seriously, I don't think I could do a 4th season. If Strange New Worlds comes out, which it's being written right now, I don't know if it's going to come out. The only thing I've heard from my independent guy who I know is there was some trouble with Picard, but I don't know if it's with an actor. I don't know what it is. And it's not whatever. There's always trouble with the show. You can say there's always trouble with the show. There was just trouble with the Mandalorian trailer because they didn't like it or something. Shit happens. There's trouble with The Expanse right now because of Cass Anvar. So you never know. You never know. So let's get to the chat here. 5 out of 10. It's really not worth your time. It's not worth subscribing. This thing being behind a paywall is a joke. It's bad enough. And Discovery won't be behind a paywall pretty soon. They're going to put it on network TV. So that will be interesting. What's up, some nobody? What's up, Ziploc and Kev L and Mr. Miles? How you doing, Mr. Miles? Kego Bricks, Non-Drowsy, Agatha Winters. Evil can't create. This is true. Woke and evil cannot create. Odo was truly non-binary. Yep. Any shapeshifter is, they can, listen, there's so many cases of that. It really, you don't understand. Just talk to somebody. And I have never, ever stated that I don't consider myself an expert on anything. I wouldn't have that much sheer fucking hubris. I am a fan. I'm into a lot of things. I've watched Star Trek since I was 5. I've watched Doctor Who for decades now. Been a Star Wars fan since 1977. Been a Marvel fan longer. Before I could even read comics, I was looking at the comics. I like a lot of stuff. You don't need to be an expert, but you have to make yourself one if you are in charge of a franchise. And it just takes work. That's all. Work. But Alex Kurtzman he's too busy. He's much too busy, ripping off other people's stuff. It takes a lot of work to go search around Google and look for stuff, in my opinion, to lift from other people. And, I've got the backing of $1 billion corporation behind me, so I'm never going to lose. Yes, R.I.P. Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman. That was very sad. Same thing got my dad, man. Hail, son of Satan. That's right. Hail. Thanks, Eric K, for being here. So, I did want to review these, but I'm moving right now. You guys all know the saga. And as I said in my live stream yesterday, that's pretty much, I'll talk about it in live streams briefly about like how our move is going. But as far as like me being pissed off at the politics of San Francisco, I've said my piece. Moving on. That's what we do. That you got to get past shit. You can't sit there and stew in your anger forever. It's not healthy. Bird of Prey 5 for $5. Kapla, my friend. And I love Bird of Prey 5. Please go check out his channel. That is one good dude. Kapla, indeed. Very hard to review something that you neither love nor hate. 3 big mehs. Exactly. Because I don't outright hate it. I just think it's boringly predictable. And it's very much in the philosophy of Kurtzman, which is very, listen, you're not supposed to say stuff like this, but it's very anti-man. And that's fine. If you were anti-man and anti-woman in meaning not being necessarily anti, giving each the same shit. Now, they do it more in this show than they do it in any other Star Trek. I will grant you that. You actually have, like, there are moments that could almost make Mariner likable. If they didn't make her such a Mary Sue, she might be likable. You notice they always have her button open so they show the little animated cleavage. I'm sure you've noticed that, right? So you can be sexually attracted to a badly drawn woman. I don't know, but that's something I'm like, yeah, she's always got that, just like Kirk. So Bird of Prey 5 had a strange theory that Mariner is Kirk. And I'm starting to believe you, man. I'm starting to believe you. Jonathan Aldridge for £5. I refuse to be forced to identify with anything I do not like or want to identify with. Exactly. I don't care how you identify. As long as you're happy, it's fine. But like, I don't wake up in the morning going, telling everyone I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and just tell you all the things that are about me. I try not to be identified by one thing. That's so boring. It's so boring. And most people don't. All right. I listen, I don't want to sound like I got gay friends, but like I know a lot of people in the alphabet community and they're people, XN for $2. Why didn't they replicate T-88s? Oh yeah. Bad writing. Why don't they see? That's the problem with the replicator. Look, it's Bird of Prey 5. A lot of the Trek lore people have gone over this multiple times. This is the problem with the Uber technology. It becomes a problem. And why don't you just beam out from everywhere? They forget they have a transporter almost every episode of Discovery and Picard. Not almost every episode, but in a lot of key points and key moments. Culture Casino, Mr. Insanity, JPRPH1, thank you for the phallic unicorns for $1.49, 99 cents, and 99 cents. Chris Persia, thank you for being here with your wrench. Some nobody. I tried, but I couldn't share Gary Pelosi's video. Anyone else having this problem? CT555 called me fives. Yes. My video is unshareable in some cases on Facebook. They would not let me put up my thumbnail. Now, the original plan for this video was to keep it up for 5 to 7 days and then remove it. Because really quick on this subject, I don't want to get political. This is a personal issue with one fracking politician in a town that is decimated, economically decimated due to incompetence and political. So I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. And guess what? San Franciscans don't care right now either. They're pissed, and they should be pissed. Lives are being messed with. I mean, we're sitting here talking about fun Star Trek stuff, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. But it's in some cases you can't share my video. I thank you for trying. And again, you have my promise. I'll be talking about Star Trek. I'll still be talking about Star Trek and Doctor Who. I've got a Hollywood video that I'm working out in my head right now that hopefully I can have out by tomorrow. And we're going to get back to the, pop culture, reviewing television, reviewing movies, and the culture war, of course, because that is far from over. That is far from over. Long time no see, buddy. My fault. Oh, some nobody. It's okay. It's okay. You got a life, and sometimes we mix our channels up a little bit. I get it. I personally do not unsubscribe to people. Sometimes, channels will just do stuff I don't know much about. But sometimes I like that stuff because that's how I learn. That's like, I watch the Quartering and all his gaming videos. I know dick about gaming, but I watch them. I watch Anti-Trekker whinging about the fandom menace. So it's okay. It's okay. Bama grad for $5. Hail Gary and Mrs. Nerdrotic. Some are claiming Pelosi's salon visit was just grooming. No word on if the grooming included a flea dip. Oh boy. Jonathan Aldridge for $5. Better than that Gary transwarp beaming. Why not transwarp beam them out while on the ship that was under warp travel? Yeah. Dude, listen, there's two, actually Anti-Trekker brought this up in one of his videos. Part of the problem having to go forward with Star Trek is you have the technology of the gods. So you're at this point, you're at a point where it will be very hard for you to tell stories. You would have to find an even more technological society for them to fight against, because when you can replicate anything at this point, you can make a human golem and fight death now. So where are you going to go? The only thing you can do to go forward is have a single ship go out, on another 5-year mission and have part of it breaking down or something. I don't know. That's it. CBS staff mantra: the power of Satan compels us. The power of Satan compels us, says Mr. Miles for $2. Exactly. Evil can't write. Neither can incompetent. Alex Kurtzman would only be evil if he thought it was cool. Alex Kurtzman doesn't have enough personality, enough human in him to be evil or good. He is an empty shell. He is a poser. And you know what? He's the kind of guy who succeeds in Hollywood. Let's face it. Roberto Orci, he said it himself, is the Star Trek guy. And if Roberto Orci was running Star Trek, it would probably be a lot better. Even though he is from the Jar Jar Abrams camp, he's the Star Trek fan. I think there's a lot. Brian Fuller, if Brian Fuller was running the show, it would have been better. It would have been watchable. I'm not saying it would have been the greatest thing in the world. It certainly would have had probably woke moments, but Brian Fuller can write television. He's competent. If Noah Hawley took it on instead of doing a movie, making a TV show, it would be much better. Because he's a competent writer. Halfway through the original series, haven't seen some of these episodes in decades, so thanks, but no on whatever's being passed off as Trek now. I'm good, says Man of War 665, Neighbor of the Beast. Neighbor of the Beast for $5. Thank you. I am rolling through the TNG right now to get fully prepared for my Picard review so I can fact check some stuff because I don't have it committed to memory like a lot of the Trekkers out there. And that's good. That's good. I don't have enough room in my brain for that stuff. So I'm checking out. My whole goal for this review is not to outdo Red Letter Media because I can't. They are very talented YouTubers, probably some of the very, very, very best. I'm just going to do my best review in the way I do them. And if you saw my Rise of Skywalker review, that's how I do reviews. So I kind of just poke through the entire plot, and it's really hard to do with the television series because it's going to be long. My review for Rise of Skywalker was one of my longest review videos. It was 33 minutes. 33 minutes, I believe. Let's go up here. Who do we got? Stellar Heather. Hail and stuff. What's up? We got Easy Does It here as well. Get this, YouTube finally notified me this went live 27 minutes ago. Really? Not surprised. Alex Kurtzman is the guy, thanks Chris Persia, on Non-Drowsy. Alex Kurtzman is the guy who would tell people his dad worked for Nintendo. Yes, yes, totally. You know, his whole Star Trek, his introduction to Star Trek was watching it on a television at his friend's house. And then watching Wrath of Khan. Now, a lot of people got really turned on to Star Trek at Wrath of Khan. It was a good gateway. It was a great gateway at the time. And I think it propelled Star Trek even further as far as reruns. Now, I wasn't paying attention to the ratings for the reruns. I just know when I was a kid, Star Trek was on all the damn time. All the time. And I was lucky enough to grow up in San Diego, so I got all the LA stations. So it would be on an LA station 1 hour, and then a couple hours later, it would be on a San Diego station. And then they do a TNG episode a couple hours later. It would be on a San Diego station. And yeah, so I could watch 3 episodes a day, sometimes 4 episodes a day. It was great. Kurtzman Trek transporters only work 25% of the time, says Tim Dog 68 for $5. That might be true, but that 25% thing is just hooey. It's hooey. Although, listen, there was the article that came out the day after Lower Decks premiered. Emma Watts, who was an executive at Paramount, who said that Star Trek needs to be reinvigorated at its core. All right. And she was still talking about Star Trek as if the films were separate from the television series. They didn't mention Alex Kurtzman once. That's weird because he's supposed to be the Kevin Feige of Star Trek. So why would she not mention him at all? I think it's strange. It could have been an oversight, but I doubt it, knowing how things work in Hollywood. If you go out and talk about Star Trek and don't mention Alex Kurtzman, believe me, Alex Kurtzman was disrespected. He was absolutely disrespected, without a doubt. And he can't say shit about it because it's an executive, and it's a female executive, and a good one by all accounts. So she might be our last hope for Star Trek, but I wouldn't get our hopes up because some of us thought Sherry Redstone would be, and that's not the case. Listen, a $25 million contract is an easy contract to get out of. It's an easy contract to get out of. So, honestly, so my guy, who works over there has been working from home. Like, he hasn't been in the office for a long time. So there's not much to hear, honestly. The only thing I know is Star Trek shows are currently being written. They are being written from home. They do Zoom meetings, and that's what Akiva Goldsman said that. So they're currently working on Picard, I believe, and I think Kurtzman has said they're breaking story. He said that for Section 31. For Strange New Worlds. Not a word on Section 31 yet. We'll see. I'm guessing Michelle Yao's, is that how you're saying her last name? I'm sure she's just sitting around waiting for that. But we'll see. We'll see. Hollywood is in big trouble, folks, and that will be part of my next video. I've talked about it a lot on live streams, but it's got some serious problems it's got to deal with. And, Star Trek is caught in the same place the rest of Hollywood is. They feel like they need to get more woke than ever due to the recent events, due to it being an election year, which will all die, hopefully die down after that's all done. We'll see. It didn't after 2016. But they also need to make money. And if you are alienating large portions of your audience, and it gets bigger and bigger every day, if you are associated with funding some of the violence in the world by bailing out people, which Bad Robot is directly connected to. So I can't say Secret Hideout is, but yes, they are. As a matter of fact, they are, because when they did their Comic-Con panel, they said they were using that panel and Star Trek as a platform for these causes, and some of them were bailing people out. Same as Dynamite Comics, bailing out criminals. So this is where Hollywood and the real world collide, and this is where that divisiveness. This is the end game of it, right? So, and that's why we were discussing this stuff for 2 years. Because Star Trek used to be a place where we could come and just talk about Star Trek, talk about Who was the first non-binary character? That stuff like that, discuss a plot, get into the lore. That would be great to discuss. The problem is Star Trek has gotten so old and alienated so many potential new customers that it's just going to fade into comic books and novels. And the biggest event, look at Doctor Who right now. Look at how pathetic Doctor Who is. Its biggest event, its most exciting thing is a story running through multiple forms of media that nobody's going to follow except for the most hardcore Doctor Who fan. It's not going to interest any new character. It doesn't matter if it's got the 10th Doctor in it. You're going to have to pay attention to comic books, novels, and audio adventures. That is way too much. But it's honestly the most exciting thing. Now, I'll talk about that another day because they've already broke canon to shreds. But they've already done that before in The Timeless Children. But that's what Star Trek is headed for. And they don't even have audio adventures right now. And they shut down, the fan films are the fan films, and they got their own problems. They got their own drama behind them. That's not interesting at all. But that's what Star Trek's going to be. It's going to be lost in space. So in about 10 years, when you're doing a lore when you are a Star Trek channel, right, you're going to be about as relevant as a channel doing Lost in Space lore right now. Lost in Space was cool. I got no problem with that show. I liked it. But there's about 10 people into it right now, and they're over the age of 60. That's where Star Trek is headed. I don't want Star Trek to die. If I didn't care, I wouldn't say anything. Hail, Gary. When I saw Auntie Pelosi caught on tape, Mrs. Nerdrotic was the first person I thought of. What a slap in the face on the very same day. Anyway, wanted to show support. Wish it could be more. $10. Oh, thank you, Sarah B. I appreciate that. And she's going to be okay. We appreciate all the love. It was, honestly, it was bad enough. But again, that was the day my wife called me 3 hours later. She was really sad, by the way. And she's like, I cleared it out for the last time. And it just made it all real. And it wasn't fun. And then that news popped up. And I blew my stack a little bit. FR Jance for $5. Anyone else remember when Kurtzman and Orsi also killed Zorro? Was that them? I don't know. I've never seen. I remember when Kurtzman and Orsi were coming up and they were kind of touted as this duo, right? My co-host at the time on the show was really talking them up, but listen, he didn't know at the time. Nobody knew that they were the destroyer franchises. But they were really touted up. I do believe Kurtzman crossed the line at the writer's strike. This is what I've heard many times. I would reinvigorate Star Trek without... thank you, Evar. Jonathan Aldridge for £5. I would reinvigorate Star Trek without rebooting it. I would do this by picking a fresh century on the timeline with a fresh new crew and captain. Yes, new ship, new crew, new captain. Tell you what, here's a challenge for CBS. Go ahead and make the most diverse crew you can think of and don't talk about it. Concentrate on making a good story. Find the best actors available for the roles and make the best story with the best writer available. And then you can do all the other stuff all day long and just make entertaining stories. You're not a platform. You're not an influencer. Star Trek, back in the day, did indeed influence a lot of people, but it influenced them through the entertainment. The influence didn't come first. If you watch Star Trek, the original series, like most of you have, it's a space adventure show. And it's fun. And we really like the characters. And then everything comes after that. I am not a canon fundamentalist. I much prefer having characters that are interesting, that I care about. I mean, Buffy's one of my favorite shows. It's filled with plot holes and insanity, but it's got characters I give a shit about. I'm amused by Mariner's cleavage. The dark corners of the internet. Have fun with that. Don't check DeviantArt. Travis for $5. I try not to check DeviantArt, although I do have something up there. One single thing up there. if you look. I made a T-shirt of it and made a lot of money, and it was a combination of two trademarked logos. It was listen, a lot of money is relative. I sold like 50 T-shirts. Stop calling Jody Dr. Karen. That is bullying. The Dr. 14 Blu-ray reviews for £5. No, I'm having fun. I'm having a little fun. It's not bullying. You know what? When dudes show endearment towards each other, we give each other shit. Like I give Drunk 3PO and Jeremy a lot of shit. Jeremy gives me a lot of shit. Drunk 3PO tries to give me shit. And it's because I love those guys. I love those guys. Now, when I call the reason I say the first female doctor played by Jodie Whittaker, who we will lovingly call Dr. Karen, it originated because every article I read identified Jodie Whittaker as the first female doctor played by Jodie Whittaker. Go look at every single article in 2017, 2018. It was the first female doctor played by Jodie Whittaker. So that just stuck in my head. We could also say the first black female lead, Sonequa Martin Green, because that's how they identify her as well, instead of just saying new star of Star Trek, Sonequa Martin Green. That's when things become normalized. Do you understand? Do I need to say it slowly? When things become normalized, we will just say star Sonequa Martin Green of Star Trek. The fact that they have to say she is the first black female star does diminish her, does marginalize her, because it is bigoted to point that out. Just because it might sound positive, just think about that, how that's going to sound 10 years from now. Because you're separating her. She is a member of the human race, last time I checked. And the thing is, actors will go right along with this because they're empty-headed morons. And one thing they're really good at is getting attention. That's why they're actors. Drama. They like to act. They like people watching them all the time. They need the attention because of daddy, mommy issues, whatever. And some of them are really good at it, and we all enjoy their work. But they pretend. And they take this shit way too seriously. So to come out and go, this is very historic. We have the first black female pretender in a fake space show. You know, now it's way more than that to me, but to the general audience, that's all that is. Star Trek is not just a space show to me, by the way. And Star Wars is not just laser swords and wizards. It's much more than that to me. It's mythology. But the people currently in charge do not see it that way. They see it as a vehicle for their influence. Dr. Karen, get used to it, kids, says some nobody for $2. Dr. 14 Blu-ray reviews. You can always voice your opinion here, though. You can. And he will. He will. And I won't shame you for it. But I am not going to stop calling the first female doctor played by Jodie Whittaker, who we will lovingly call Dr. Karen. I say lovingly before that. But she's a Karen. She's got a Karen haircut. Barb was a Karen. Barb in this episode. You notice all the blonde white women are firmly in control of everything. You know, Anita Sarkeesian, when Doctor Who became a female, did point that out. Did point out that, well, it was just a way to keep the Doctor white. Far be it from me to argue with Anita. Gary, need to get nitpicking nerd Major Grin on sometime. Interesting guy. Yeah, absolutely. I love his work. It's brilliant. Check out Major Grin on YouTube. Check out Major Grin. Thank you, Destiny Captain, for $4.99. Agatha Winters for $5. Love your show, so keep up the great work. Comics will get past the woke nonsense eventually. Stay strong. It will. You're right. It will. And I think it's working on. I don't know if Marvel and DC Comics will. But Keanu Kickstarter is brilliant. There's some things I don't understand about it, like going with Boom Studios at all. But honestly, I have nothing bad to say about Keanu Reeves. I think there's certain people that are just above any criticism based on their actions. And based on his actions, he's a real dude. He's just a real regular guy. Robert Pattinson tested positive for the Voldemort. The Batman production halted again, says Norwegian Kryptonian, for 5 Norwegian krona. Really? Well, people are going to test positive for it. I guess you got to quarantine and be safe, and he's young. He'll be fine. The Rock got it as well. A lot of movie stars get it. Is it because they travel? I just think it's weird. I can point out that it's weird that a lot of movie stars get it. Tom Hanks got it. Didn't hear much after that. He said he got it, said it wasn't fun. He's not young. Now, I did run across the first person in my life to catch it. And it was my uncle, my father's brother, who is old and not in good shape. And he got through it. And he was definitely within the danger zone. He was overweight. He is overweight. Everything about it. And he got through it. Uncle Verlin. Stay strong, Uncle Verlin. So, yeah. Greetings, Blood Angel for 10 pounds. Greetings from Greece about Tom Hanks and his wife. They visit every year. Citizenship was due to the contribution to wildfire victims back in 2018. No, he's not staying. And finally, we hate Fredos. Listen, good. I imagine most people do. And far be it from me to criticize Greece now, Blood Angel, because I live in California, which just decriminalized some Fredo stuff as well, which is disgusting. By the way, kids cannot consent. Kids cannot consent. That's a conversation for another day. That's where it's just bad. Dr. Karen. Says Dr. Scott for Dr. Scott must be shot. Dr. Scott must be shot. Kill him. We can use the parking space. Rocky Horse there. I played Dr. Scott a lot in that rhymed. Thank you for the $1.99 at the La Paloma Theater in Encinitas in 1988 through 90. I played Dr. Scott. I played Janet a couple times because we did the role reversal thing. Played Eddie. Played Riff Raff. I was the casting director. I did the announcing before and after the movie Rocky Horror, by the way. My wife was in the cast too. She played Columbia because she was damn near a dead ringer for her. Still is a dead ringer for Columbia. She doesn't have as pointy a chin, but God, I wish I could find a picture of my wife in the Columbia costume back in the day. And my best friend played Frankenfurter. Straight as an arrow, this guy was, but he used to ride up at the La Paloma in his motorcycle with his fishnets on. This is back when that stuff was fun. Back when people had fun. All right, let's go to the chat. Ensign Ricky, the Cali governor has to sign it into law, so pressure could still be applied before it is law. You're right, Ensign Ricky. It's just been introduced. I don't want to say what the law is. It's SB 145. Go look it up for yourself. It's complicated. It is complicated. But there's certain things about it that aren't complicated because kids can't consent. Fredo. Yeah, I don't want to say what a Fredo. A Fredo. That's what I call it. I know there's another term for Fredo too, but that's what I just, I think of these things on the fly. I don't have all day. I was 5. In 1988, I was 5. You are old, says Alex the Collector. Yes, I am 51. 51. I was born when the Beatles were still together. 1969. The year Abbey Road came out. I could totally see you as Riff Raff, John C. Thank you. Maybe one day I'll sing, but not today. Not this day. Gray Ghost. One aunt and my cousin got it, but my uncle hasn't. All live together. The other aunt, her and her husband, my cousin and her husband all got it. Yeah. Oh, it's out there, but we just need to continue with our life at this point. I think the numbers that the CDC came out with ended the discussion, to be honest with you, for me. And I could break out some numbers about getting into a car that are worse, that you are much more danger getting into a car every day than pretty much anything else. And you still get into a car. I'm going to get into a car after this and go to the gym. So, yeah. Well, not a car. I don't own a car. I own a 4x4. Nothing will ever be like the original Star Trek, original series, TNG, and the first 3 Star Wars episodes, 4, 5, and 6, which are just Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. They tried, and they don't love them like us. They hate them. Says Mary Ashmead for $5, summing it up perfectly. You can't go home again. I never expected that. I don't think you ever expected that, Mary. I don't think any of us ever expected to see a repeat of Star Trek or Star Wars. But in the spirit of it would have been nice, say, and we said this when The Mandalorian came out. If they started with The Mandalorian, it would be up from there. Everything would be roses if they started with The Mandalorian. Disney had to learn because they didn't take the time. How ridiculous of it. But this is Hollywood, folks. You spend billions of dollars on a franchise and then you rush to start getting your money back instead of maybe taking a calendar year. Just take a calendar year, get a crack team to go research shit and listen to them. You don't have to listen to every word. You know what? Get a good cross-section of opinions, a diversity of opinions, and research. That's all you needed to do. Because it's not as easy as just hiring a Star Wars fan. It's not that easy. Famously with Star Trek, the 2 best Star Trek movies were directed by a guy who didn't know Trek very much. But they went out and learned. And they made something different. And, that's all we asked. But they decided to make it, they wanted to use these platforms for influence. And this is what happens every single time. Praying for your family gets moved soon. Much love. Thank you, Dr. Scott, for $1.99. Yeah, once we get, we're going to get settled in here in a couple more weeks, and then we start looking, and then there's just tons of work to do. This is not, listen, people are in much worse shape than we are. Hail, Gary, would love you to vote for Doomcock as president and Henchman 21 as VP. Any possibility of future Venture Brothers reviews? David Serta for $5. That is a great question. I'd be happy to vote for Doomcock for president. Absolutely happy. And Henchman 21 as VP, hell yes. Yes, there will be Venture Brothers reviews on the main channel when season 8 comes out. I might do some retro reviews on this channel. I've done reviews. If you go search my main channel, if you dig deep, you'll find Venture Brothers reviews from season 7. Absolutely. I will do live reviews, video reviews. I love that show. It is one of the best shows ever made. Make entertainment entertaining again. So Mia says Joe Nerf Herder for $2. Absolutely. I agree. I only meant to go half an hour. Looks like we'll go an hour on this. What the hell? We're having fun. And Mary Ashmead, thank you for the super sticker for $2. I appreciate it. Matt Guy, Smack Talk just made a 1-hour SW Saga review. Amazing. I will check it out. I've never heard of Smack Talk. You know what's crazy about this platform? I've said it before, but there's like people with millions of subscribers I've never heard of. That's how big this platform is. So Mac Guy, I will check out Smack Talk. If you say it's good, then I will believe you. Looking up in the chat. So can I ask in the chat, we'll say 1 for yes, or no, Y for yes, N for no. Did you watch Star Trek Lower Decks? Y for yes, N for no. Want to see a live reaction to this. As said that you were looking for me during his Tuesday stream. Yeah, I couldn't believe Mark C. Thank you for the $5. I'm like, every time I talk about comics, I say the word comics, Mark C. shows up like Beetlejuice. He just, poof, somebody's talking about comics. Yes. We were like, couldn't believe you weren't there. All right, so here we go. It's Y for yes, N for no. And you're seeing, that's why the chat is up on the screen right now, folks. You can see that it is no. Well, okay, so IK1906 watched it. That's 1 to 10 no's. Sidewire watched it. And Floydian Freak watched it. Bunch of no's. That's 3 people. Michael Van Wingen watched it. So that's 4 people. RKS and Problem Being are a yes and a yes. We're up to 6. Oh, it jumped on me. Hang on. Jonathan Tillman, pilot only, but I'll count that as a yes. We'll say 7. Saul Leibowitz. Saul Leibowitz. My apologies. Yes for 8. All right. I already counted that one. We got 9. We got Aiken 9. Some people are voting twice. So we've got 10 people. Cosmic Pariah, first episode only. We'll count that. We'll say 10. So I counted, we'll say, I'll add a couple if I missed it. So out of this chat, 12 people. 12 people watched it. I watched it. I watched it twice, so they get 2 clicks out of me. I watch them twice before I do a review. Father Christopher Miller, what's up? How's it going? Okay, we got, do we have some more yeses? And Andrew Brown watched it. And Taggart 100 and Kylie Hines. So we're up to 14, 15. Alt Lexington watched it. And Loquacious Primate watched it. Callie Hines watched it, but everybody else didn't. Wow. That's not good. That's not good. It's good to see you, Mark C. Jonathan Aldridge. Gary, Mecha42 stated that all of the conflicts and arguments that humans are having is the reason why aliens won't land and show themselves. Humans are always having conflicts and arguments. This is not the worst time in human history, not even close. This isn't even close to the worst time in America's history. This is going to be remembered, but I want you, or before we all black pill and say things are terrible all the time, are they really? Are they really? Sun is shining. We're talking to each other. The internet's working right now. We're able to get some respite once in a while, a brief respite. A word I learned from Lord of the Rings. And it's almost a mindset, all right? So the mainstream media, the system right now wants you beaten down. Don't let them. Don't let them. You're still above ground. You're breathing. Not everything's perfect. Listen, as much as going on in my life, I woke up in a great mood. I am happy. Ultimately, because my wife loves me. I've got 2 great kids. I've got this great gig. I've got you guys. We've got each other. Everything else, material and all that shit, we can work it out. It's going to probably be, hard work. But if we don't let them get us down, we can make it through this. And we are making it through it. We are. If life is good half the time, you are freaking winning. So I try to remember. I'm going to keep it to I statements. I don't want to tell you how to live your life, and some of you are probably going through some like adverse shit right now. Just remember, this too shall pass, and I hope it gets better for you. And some of you out there are doing great. So we're working. Mr. Insanity just got promoted. It's like there are things that are good that we need to hold on to and remember. Now, as far as aliens landing, they don't land because we're an anthill to them. We're an anthill. Now, I'm not going to say they haven't landed already, though, because I don't know that. That's an exozone topic. I don't think there's one race of aliens out there. So, yeah, we'll see. But I do not think the current strife has anything to do with it. I think, for instance, with the what do they call it now? The Tic Tac UFO. That whole thing sounded like whatever those Tic Tac UFOs were, another country or aliens or us from the future, they were doing something. They knew we were there and they didn't care. They were doing their thing. They went through it and left while we were watching, and they didn't care that we were watching. They had little scouts coming out looking at our planes. Then they left, did nothing to them, didn't attack, didn't do anything. So that's what I think. I think they're just ambivalent if they exist. I was born in 91. Holy crap. And my dad is Tom. What? My dad is Tom Brevoort. Regardless, love what you're doing, shedding light on crappy government with all the way. The waifu defiler for $5. Is your dad really Tom? Are you the guy? Now, listen. I'll take you at your word that your dad is Tom Brevoort. Sorry for if I'm mispronouncing your name. You're probably joking. But is that the same? Wasn't it Tom Brevoort who talked shit about his own son on Twitter? Mark C., I know you know the answer to that question. It was somebody at Marvel, one of the editors at Marvel, talked shit about his own son on Twitter. That's how shitty they are. Oh, I would never, ever. I mean, listen, my oldest son can frustrate me. I would never talk shit. I love that boy. Boy's amazing, man. Don't ever let him know I said that, though. Don't ever. There's a certain age, like my youngest son, he's still 14 to 15. He's my little guy. But when they get older, I get into dad mode. It's like, I ain't your pal. I'm your dad. So, yeah. Smack Talk /Voxel Productions must-see review of Star Wars, says Riddick. Oh, I'm on it then. That's 2 recommendations. Consider it done. Thank you for the $2. Loquacious Primate for $5. Hail, Gary. Sorry, I've been a bit busy. Don't be sorry. I'm glad you're busy. It's nice. See, it's good to hear somebody's busy. I want people to be busy. I want you to be working. I want you to be happy. Everybody. And missed the last few member streams, but I still lurk. Wishing you and your family the best with your moves. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm going to try to do one tonight. I have things to do, including soundproofing this room. That's important. If I can't do it tonight, then I'm going to do an Australia one Saturday member stream on the main channel. Kent Barnes for $5. G'day, Gary. I'll inventory the Lord of the Rings figures I mentioned last night this weekend and email you with some pics by Monday. Be blessed. Oh, brilliant. Yes, I am looking for a Toy Biz Lord of the Rings collection. Like, as I would love to, at a fair price, but that's what I'm looking for, is a Lord of the Rings Toy Biz collection. I ended up selling all mine in my store. Kind of regret it now, but I appreciate that, Kent. Yeah, send me the email and we'll come up with a fair price. Kent offered them to me, but I'm like, yeah, let's do a fair exchange of goods. Let's do it that way. Hubert, what did you do to your E? How'd you even do that? Lepicky. It looks so exotic. 25 Polish pesos.
You didn't hear the Polish jokes I was telling on my live stream last night, did you, Hubert? I was just kidding. I freaking love The Witcher. I love Poland. Hail Poland. There was context to my jokes, though. It wasn't to it was to a specific person. Someone here months ago recommended you Galaxy's Edge book series. Whoever that person was, he, she, they, owes me days of life already. So good. Yes, a lot of people have been saying good things about it. Blue-Eyed Scorpio for $4.99. If an alien lives thousands of years, then they visit every 50 years. That would be like a monthly visit to them. Just a random thought. It would. It would. There's so many things we don't understand because we're all, we're bipeds. We're all, I am just a dumb monkey. So, I don't necessarily, I don't want to get into it. That's for an exozone. I have theories about the human race. And I don't exactly buy into evolution, and not for religious stuff, for different reasons. Value those boys, miss them when they're gone, says Destiny Captain for $2.99. That's right. That's right. Gregoros, oh my God, how am I supposed to say this name? Gregoros Brezhnevishkiak. I'm going to just make something up. For your Cal exit, sir, may the small deep nerdrotic lore. For your Cal exit, sir, may the small folk sing songs of your greatness, and please now pronounce my name. Okay. Gerzagorj Brezhneviziak. No, you're going to have to pronounce that name. I'm just going to call you G. Thanks, G. Mary Ashmead for $2. I wish I could be here every stream. I know you do too, but there's a million streams going on, Mary Ashmead. You're a busy wrench. It's okay. It's all right. Yeah. Okay. So may the small folks sing songs of your greatness was my old sign off back in the day. I was reading a lot of A Song of Ice and Fire and Lord of the Rings. So I was in my fantasy speak mode. Been busy working on more books. Oh, Mike Brown, what's up? Mike Brown, the author, been busy on working on more books and moving forward on Atlantis Chronicles. Yes, Mike Brown writes the Atlantis Chronicles, available on Amazon. A real writer. Son of the Wolf for $5. Hail, Gary. So it's been a while. Been working 84 hours a week. Jesus. They sound like YouTube hours. Glad to see you're doing well. I wish you and yours well with the move. Why, thank you, Son of the Wolf. I appreciate it. Yes, doing well. Yes. So I work around that. I work insane hours because I love it. It's not like I'm working in a salt mine or anything. I dig it. It's fun. Hail, Gary. Have a great day, sir, says Cisco Kid for $5. You have a great day. We got over watching Star Trek Lower Decks. We haven't talked about it in the last 20 minutes. And I don't give a shit. And I'm not going to review it again. I'm done. I'm over it. It's not offensively bad, and it's not good. It is just meh. And it's the worst thing to review. At least when something's offensively bad, we can clown it. The only thing I can say about Lower Decks this episode is it was lower cucks. And the most important thing the most important thing on my channel is I have to have a desire to do it. There's a lot of people out there who use the word grifter. Well, grifter means I'm bullshitting to get money. It's a con. So that would mean that I actually like Star Trek and I'm putting it on you guys. I'm coming out here and pretending to hate it just for the clicks. And no, I genuinely do not like it. When it comes to Star Trek Lower Decks, it bores me and I don't like the animation. The story's not good enough to engage me. Is it bad in the way that Discovery and Picard are bad? No, it is not, because Kurtzman doesn't write it. So you can tell there's a guy who at least has writing experience and can throw together an episode, and it's kind of but it's an unfunny cartoon. And I don't think all the pot in the world wouldn't make this cartoon funny. And I would laugh at anything back when I was stoned. I would laugh at a funeral at the most inappropriate times. So that's my feelings on this. So it's not worth reviewing. I will review Star Trek Discovery because I am positive it will be offensively bad because it has the same writers as they did season 2 and season 1. And they're not mentioned a lot, but they're these two young ladies who used to write for CW shows. They write a lot of Star Trek, and you can tell the more inexperienced Star Trek comes from them. I think Akiva Goldsman and Alex Kurtzman are bad, but I think they put their name on stuff because it's a writer's room. So they just plan stuff out and have other people fill in the blanks. Not that they're actually filling in with any substance or anything. Mark C for $10. Just went from working nights to working days, but nice to know I am missed. Mark, I miss your little thing avatar and asking, just pretty damn good questions all the time. And yes, it was Tom Brevoort. It's one thing to have a division between father and son, a little different making it public. Yeah, humiliating your son it shows that honestly, the son is the more of a man than he is, because a true man and a father would not do that ever. That's cruel. It's cruel. It's cruelty, and it shows that Tom Brevoort is probably just an insecure little twat. So Ryan Cunningham, sorry if I'm disrespecting your dad, if you're really his son out there, by the way, but like, he did humiliate you, and I took offense for you. I'm sure you don't mind. Thank you for your content. Very entertaining. Thanks, Ryan Cunningham. Thank you for the $1.99. I will try to continue to be entertaining. I'm gonna. You know what? Woke up. I get to review a little TV. Gonna go to the gym. Gonna soundproof. So when I soundproof the room, I'm gonna be watching a TNG episode, and then a Doctor Who episode, then a TNG episode. Then I have a video in my head if I can produce it quickly, because I only have a small amount of time, and I can't make videos on Fridays anymore because we got to set up for Friday Night Tights, which is, worth dedicating a day to. It really is. I love my job too. I'm a union boilermaker. Really hard work, but it's great. Screw college. Learn a trade. Son of the Wolf for $5. I completely agree with that. You can go to a trade school and you will learn just as a rewarding job, and you'll probably make more money right now because they need mechanics. They need union boilermakers. They need all kinds of stuff. I mean, the bus driver mechanics in San Francisco, I said it in my live stream yesterday, $250,000 a year those guys are making. My head's going to explode. The stream when Drinker and Doomcock talking Galactica later. This stream and Drinker and Doomcock talking Galactica later. The universe might not handle this. It might not. The Twiki Kid for $4.99. No, the Drinker's awesome. We just talked about Star Trek 6, and we're going to talk about Face Off. Drinker and I are going to discuss Face Off. That's our next movie. We just need to find a date. Also, Mahler and I are discussing, we're doing something in the very near future. If you are a Buffy fan, you're going to want to tune in. Jeff Yerke for $10. Yes, Gary, Mrs. Y, and I wish you all the best. We have once again gone back to TNG to get our collective Trek kicks. That's right. Hail Nerdrotic. Hell yeah, Jeff. And it's a good, Trek is, and I don't mean this as an insult, it's comfort food. It's a happy place. You go there, you know what to expect. You're still entertained as hell. You're not reinventing the wheel. It's just Star Trek. Star Trek has a singular aesthetic, and the Jar Jar Abrams aesthetic is not it. Jonathan Aldridge, I have not seen Lower Decks and will not ever watch it because New Trek lost me at the end of Star Trek Discovery Season 2. I have been a fan since the 90s. Yeah, since they disrespected Spock. Jonathan Aldridge for £5. I don't blame you one bit. Gray Ghost, reflect on when you say you got kicked out of 3 high schools, that this $5 is for you so you can pronounce room and roof. We love you so much. Hail. I cannot, a room. A room. I say rum and I say rough. I don't think school would have changed that. I think it's just how I talk. It might be, I don't know if that's a California thing or not. You never know if you have an accent or not. I don't think I have an accent. I grew up in Southern California and I used to like say dude a lot, maybe like roll my, I was kind of a drawl, kind of a lazy language down here. Par for the course. By the way, but no, hoping Jurassic, it's a wolf I have a problem with. I say woof all the time, but I have to concentrate to say wolf. By the way, hoping Jurassic 3 goes full on Xenozoic Tales comics. Ooh, that would be fun. Aren't they bringing back the old cast, Mark C? That'd be kind of cool. Still have not watched Jurassic Park to this day. That's right. Haven't seen it. I was locked up when it came out. Never got around to seeing it. And now it's kind of a thing, I was also locked up when Batman Returns came out. That killed me. That actually bothered me. That's when I was like realizing like this sucks. I cannot go see Batman Returns right now. Life Day is coming. Have you made your plans yet? Yes. Gary Shoeshine Station for $2. I was gonna do a bad joke there. I'm gonna leave it alone. Yes, I've made plans for Life Day. I'm going to do the same thing I would do on any other day. About to medically retire from the military, 10 years, and trying to find a new passion career. I am inspired by your story. It gives me hope. Thank you. AJ1218 for $5. For one, I went through a midlife crisis at 20 because I didn't have any skills. I didn't know what to do with my life. I had just gotten out of prison. And while I was thankful to be free, I didn't go to school. Well, I went to school. I got kicked out of 3 high schools. I had 0 education, 0 skills. I just picked up the first job I found, ended up liking it, and turned it into a career, which rolled into everything else. So I went from being a parts driver, making $7 an hour, and within 4 years, I was assistant managing in a parts department, making $80,000 a year. So from like no skills, and I know nothing about cars, and they liked me at this dealership. So they said, we'll train you. So they trained me. I was a warehouse guy. I learned quick. And by the time I was done, I could take apart mentally any car in existence now. Because essentially they're all the same. Tesla's a little different, but a lot easier. So yeah. And I had 0 passion for cars, could not care less. And most people in the auto industry are into cars. I'm still not that into them, to be honest with you. But I found out I was really good at remembering part numbers. So it worked for the job. There's always an opportunity out there for you. It might not be your dream, but that's why it's always important to have a good hobby. This YouTubing thing as a hobby was great. It got me through kind of mundane jobs. I looked forward to it every day. Nobody was listening to my podcast. I didn't give a shit. I approached each podcast like I had 1 million listeners. I did. And I had maybe, I think we had, a couple hundred. And then on iTunes, it grew up to, a few thousand. So we'd have a few thousand listeners on iTunes prior to the channel growing on YouTube. The thing about iTunes is there's no real way to check your analytics. I can see how many people subscribed through my feed burner at the time. That was it. I think there's analytics for Spotify. I haven't found them yet. By the way, still trying to get to the bottom of that Joe Rogan thing, because it is weird that all the right-wing people were left off. Kind of a coincidence. But yeah, find a good hobby. You need to create. Creating's important because it can, it's connected to your spiritual center, which is important. That's why churches should be open right now. Those are essential. So are AA meetings. AA meetings and churches should be open right now. They're absolutely essential. To say they're not essential is the government oppressing people, in my opinion. When do you know a trade is a guaranteed job, unlike those gender studies degrees? What that will guarantee you nothing, but homelessness. Adam Wolford for $5. A trade is a guaranteed job in this market. If you go and study to be an auto mechanic right now, Tesla will train you. You go to Tesla, they'll train you to be a parts person, to be a mechanic, and it's hard work, but it pays extremely well. Tesla treats their employees great. All of your bennies are free, like vision, dental, health, all free. And you put your family member on, it's like $50. It's nothing. And you get full-blown everything. So it's worth it for the bennies alone. And they treat people for a big corporation. You know, I'm not a fan of big corp. I would never work for a big corporation again. I don't fit into those. Even Tesla, I didn't fit in. But I recognized that was me. They are a great company. I will not say anything bad about Tesla. They had some douchebags working in there, but every company does. Elon is one of the few people on this planet I admire. So Star Trek Continues on YouTube is pretty good. It is. Battle Hymn 63 for $2. I completely agree. Gary, been trying to email you about Patreon and tiers for a few months. Have questions. Destiny Captain for $4.99. You should have gotten a response to those. Okay. Well, shoot another email and I'll shoot you back. Patreon is going to be something I deal with once I'm settled. We're going to make some changes to make it less complicated. Hail, Gary. The original JP cast are returning for Jurassic World 3. Oh, cool. Well, then maybe I'll watch the original and watch Jurassic World 3. Thanks for the £5. Jake D for $5. Use this to rent Jurassic Park. Maybe we could talk about the movie on a stream together after you do. Maybe we can. I think that's a good idea. Grand Admiral Thrawn for $5. Hail, Gary. Face Off 2 Face Back On is coming soon to theaters near you. Ah, yes. Well, Drinker and I were discussing Face Off on the Star Trek 6 review. And he hit me up. He's like, what movie do you want to talk about, Mom? Let's talk about Face Off. Hell yeah. Enjoy each day because tomorrow is not promised. Thanks for doing what you do. Stay strong. It's Q. Hey, by the way, Q will come back. I don't know where he is. I've been looking for Q. He's in a box somewhere. He will return. I promise. Sam, and thank you for the $5, Q. Samurai for $2. Are they going to use Z and Zur on Star Trek Discovery Season 3? Maybe. I doubt those two characters will have very many speaking lines. I think they were just used as shields up. Shields up. They just, I said it earlier on, Star Trek has nothing but virtue signaling. They don't have good stories to tell. They don't have any message. They don't even woke right. There's plenty of woke and intersectionality in Star Trek, and it's executed poorly. They make women look like biatches. They do, but they're trying to show strong women, but it's Alex Kurtzman. It's a beta's idea of strong women. I just thought of something. Star Trek Lower Decks is the story of Alex Kurtzman. Boimler is Alex Kurtzman. He is. See, Star Trek writes women like, sorry if I sound crude here, but it's women written by a bunch of beta boys with no experience with women whatsoever. So it's all idealized women that don't exist on this planet. And and for one, women aren't watching this show. Kurtzman is such a liar. He said, "Oh, our female audience has grown." No. Star Trek used to be watched by a lot of women. For one, I would say it's the one franchise. Well, Doctor Who was mainly dudes for a long, long time. Star Trek has always had a strong female base. I would say bigger than Star Wars. Per capita, percentage wise, I've always known more women to like Star Trek than Star Wars back in the day. Now, more women like Star Wars now than liked it before. Women have always liked Star Wars and comics and Star Trek, but it's been a small percentage. And it'll always be a small percentage in comic books. And there's nothing wrong with that. but it's just a fact. There's a lot of bad numbers going out there that are just flat out not true, but they're easy to manipulate. Are strong women meant to value the strength of their fellow men? Jonathan Aldridge for £5. No, they're supposed to shame them in Star Trek. See, strength in men is considered toxic masculinity. Now, at least in Lower Decks, there is a masculine man that isn't totally shamed all the time, and it's Ransom. And that's the biggest difference. Now, Pike was... The man literally walked around episodes with his hands over his balls. Adam Wolfer for $20. Thanks for the $5, Jonathan Aldridge. That's what I was saying. Learn a trade and you will always have a job. Exactly. Unlike the gender studies degree, check out Mike Holmes. He has a show on Facebook where he shows you how to make home repairs right. Oh, brilliant. Sad to think that, and thanks to Adam Wolford. I knew what you were talking about. I probably got sidetracked or something like that. It happens. Sad to think that Doctor Who Anniversary was 7 years ago. The Tom Baker cameo, man, good times. Oh, Stetson's Gold for £5. I'll never forget that. That was a goosebump moment. When he came on the screen, when you heard his voice for the first time, and I had a crowd of people in the store, and it was like sports ball. People went nuts. I respect your mind and your opinion, says Jamie Knight for $5. Why, thank you. I appreciate that. I respect you too. Thank you, Stetson's Gold. Mary Ashby for $2. I've been here since 400 subs modding Gary. This is true. Ooh, that was a long time ago, Mary. Oh, it wasn't that long ago. 2017? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna end it. What about in real life outside of Star Trek? As far as what about in real life outside of Star Trek? Are strong women supposed to are strong women meant to value the strength in their fellow men? Yes, absolutely. Star Trek was always about egalitarianism. It is equality, true equality, people working together. They are past all that bullshit. Now, you can tell those stories with the alien races you encounter, and it's supposed to be a society of people who have moved past that, problem solving with issues they might not be familiar with because they're from their past that they experienced through other aliens or anything. But it's not always supposed to be like, you always want to have a message, right? But you're there to entertain people and move and evolve your characters. And that requires talent. Gary, please use the coin to watch The Fifth Kind, Stephen Greer's documentary. I've seen it. Not a fan of his, but minute 39 has the craziest revelation about presidential candidates. Filmed in 2019, perfect for the Exozone Blue. Best time is now for 1999. Oh, I've seen it. Stephen Greer is a nut. He's a nut. But that doesn't discount some of the things he's done, like getting that congressional hearing going. But he went into every time one of the UFO guys goes in the guru land, they lose me. Stay with the cases, with the facts. Gray Ghost for $5. Sorry, worded my previous super chat poorly. Meant that despite bad luck with high school, great, you're able to help support your family with a job and enjoy. Oh, well, I still kind of understood that. I'm sorry if I responded poorly to that. That's not what I meant to do. I got what you meant. Thanks, Gray Ghost. You didn't have to do that. Thanks for the $5. All right, we're going to wrap this one up. Go enjoy Critical Drinker and Doomcock talking about Battlestar Galactica. I'll probably be listening to that in the background while I'm working on my stuff. Hopefully I'll have a video out tomorrow concerning Hollywood if I can get it. I need some data first. Then of course the Super Chat Square Up will be on this channel tomorrow morning prior to Friday Night Tights with Robert Meyer Burnett. Saturday is usually my day off, but I'll probably end up doing something. And my wife gets back on Sunday, so that'll be great. But in the meantime, yeah, Lower Decks, Nah, I'm done. I'm done with it. I will review episodes of Star Trek Discovery. Of course, I will cover all Star Trek news and I will, you know what? I'll cover everything, whatever the hell I want. I'll talk about rumors. I'll talk about leaks. I haven't, but I always keep the option open. Now, you got to be careful because there's people out there trying to discredit you by making up rumors. That's interesting use of your time. Now, I didn't run with any of the rumors from 4chan, and that's particularly why. Also, I will not run with the rumor unless I've talked to somebody, like physically talked to somebody, and I know what this person looks like, and I know their name. I need to know their name. So I can't use a source that I can't verify. And this is why. So with Doctor Who, it is an old friend. And with Star Trek, it's my friend's brother. So, and it's people I know in my life. But yeah, I want everyone to have a great, great day. Be good to each other. Go watch some old Star Trek. Do what you like. Be happy. Don't let the mainstream media, just turn it off. Don't let them get you down. No, these aren't the best times in the world right now. But this too shall pass. We will get through this. And believe me, it could have been worse. There's some things we definitely need to fix for sure, but you know what? As long as and they won't get fixed if they keep trying to separate us, which they've done kind of successfully right now. So that's the thing we need to fight back against. And it starts with entertainment, with comfort. We need to bring that back. And if any corporation or company wants to fund the destruction of this country, we need to stop funding them immediately, no matter how much we love them. Listen, it hurts. It hurts to cancel my third Dr. John Pertwee 1/6 scale Doctor Who figure from Big Chief. I wanted that badly, but I canceled it because I'm not giving them any money directly. Sure, I'll buy it secondhand off eBay, but I might not be able to find it. I know it sounds like such a sacrifice, but those are the things, I'm a nerd. That's what I do. I buy nerd shit, and I'm saving a lot of money right now because I'm not spending it on comic books or on people who don't like me or like the country I live in, the country that allows them to doodle and make funny books for a living or make pretend. They decide to destroy that from within and destroy the system that allows that. That's something we got to fight. So thanks everyone again. For you before you go, thanks for the stream. You're welcome, Jonathan Timian. And thank you, Eric K. Thank you, Mary Ashmead, for the wrench. Chris Persia was here. And if I missed a wrench, I'm sorry. And thank you for all the super chats. Of course, you guys are brilliant. I will see you on Friday Night Tights. Enjoy Doomcock and Drinker. That's going to be a good one, man. Take care, everyone.